Once again, I'm congratulating all of you to for joining us into this wonderful Sangha to glorify the Supreme Lord. So, as Srimad Bhagavatam as has been told correctly by Somasundar Prabhuji, that Srimad Bhagavatam is 12 canto, 12 canto, 12 skandhas, and it's one of the voluminous Puranas among 18 Puranas. So there are 18 Puranas, and some Puranas having like 64,000 slokas, some Puranas having 48,000 slokas. So on the basis of number of slokas concerned, Srimad Bhagavatam is in the mediocre one. It is having, you can guess how many slokas there are in Srimad Bhagavatam. As we know, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, there are only 700 slokas, right? Only 700 slokas. And that we took how many months? 6 months, right? 6 months. And like there are some courses also in which we can go ahead every day one chapter, but it goes like this. And in mind also it goes like, and we don't know how much we are able to get into that, because time, as much time we are able to see, we are able to pass into our conscious subconscious mind, that much only it gets liquefied into our heart. So I request all of you, can you kindly guess how many slokas are there in Srimad Bhagavatam? Okay, so this is the age of internet. Everything is there on internet, except Krishna. We can get everything on internet. So I'll tell there are 18,000 slokas in Srimad Bhagavatam. 18,000 slokas. So this course is mainly constitutes first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This course only constitutes first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is having 19 slokas, I say 19 chapters. Okay, there are only 19 chapters in first canto, and of course there is more number of slokas than Srimad Bhagavad Gita, whole 18 chapter Bhagavad Gita. So Srimad Bhagavatam is Supreme Godhead Krishna himself, Supreme Personality Godhead Krishna himself. So what is written in whole Srimad Bhagavatam? What is written in whole Srimad Bhagavatam has been summed up in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And what is mentioned in first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that has been summed up in first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And what has been taught in first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, that has been summed up in first sloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why it is told, Srimad Bhagavatam is such a wonderful Puran, such a wonderful literature, that even one sloka somebody reads, his life will be a success. There is no doubt. But because we have much more time, and we hope and suppose that we have more time to be into this particular body in whatever allotted time we have got by the mercy of Supreme God to be in this particular body. So we can guess maybe like we can complete this Srimad Bhagavatam first canto with all of us wonderful devotees. Okay, so are you all of you are ready to go ahead, proceed ahead? So today we are not going to discuss to the chapter itself. Today and the next session will be only introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you are ready, then let me know, writing in the chat box ready. Then I'll proceed ahead to share one slide, so a small little slide, so and then we'll continue. Okay. So I'm able to see there are many responses. Vijay Banjari ji and Kaveri Gupta Mataji, and okay, thank you so much all of you for having such a wonderful prompt responses. Okay, so let's go ahead. Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam, this is the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam. I see Muralidharan ji has raised his hand. So if you like to say something, you can also write down in the chat box. If not so necessary, we can discuss all those other things. at the end of our today's discussion. So this course, for this particular course, our source of inspiration were these great personalities. Do you remember, how many of you remember, maybe the first certification ceremony that took place, we had talk from this great personality. Are you able to see here? I think most of you are able to see. His Holiness Bhakti Vijay Bhagwat Swami Maharaj. So this great Maharaj is staying in Siddham Mayapur, where I also had the opportunity to stay. This personality is personification of Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as personification of distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam. So by his great inspiration and as well as his spiritual valor, he had seen in front of his own eyes that lakhs of Srimad Bhagavatam has been distributed into as many homes in India and abroad. So Srimad Bhagavatam, there are unlimited glories of Srimad Bhagavatam mentioned in Puranas, other Puranas than Srimad Bhagavatam Puranas, as well as in Vedas. So Srimad Bhagavatam is simply nectar. Nectar, what is the meaning of nectar? Nectar means Amrita. If somebody hears Srimad Bhagavatam, his life will be immortalized. Means he would be able to conquer death. So to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam is also the mission of Bhagavatas. Bhagavatas means those personalities who are living Srimad Bhagavatam. Like we know that there is Bhagavad Gita, and there are very rare people found who read and they live Bhagavad Gita. Every slok they live. You can find out all that instructions and characteristics, what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, in some personalities. Similarly, there are great stalwart souls called Paramhansas. They are not different from Srimad Bhagavata, and they are living Bhagavatas. So we had this opportunity, such a wonderful opportunity, to hear from His Holiness Bhakti Vijay Bhagwat Swami Maharaj. Maharaj, out of great mercy, being such a greatly merciful upon us, given some around 25 or 30 minutes talk to us. And then we have a great source of inspiration, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj is my most worshipable, revered spiritual master, my Guru Maharaj. And of course, also he is a spiritual master of His Holiness Bhakti Vijay Bhagwat Swami Maharaj. To give you a little bit more information about His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is one of the senior most disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, everybody know, hopefully everybody might be knowing Srila Prabhupada. This great personality is Srila Prabhupada here. Ocean of inspiration. He is Gunar Navasya. He is the ocean of good qualities, from which there are many streams of great personalities comes out. So he is Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada's one of the leading and most senior disciples among them is His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. And it's great fortune for all of us living being on this planet, and this planet is blessed by his presence. For last 55, 56 years, he had been serving the humanity. He had been serving the mission of Supreme Godhead Krishna himself on this planet. And doing what? Bringing out the lost relationship, revealing the lost relationships of millions and billions of people back again to Krishna consciousness, to their lost remembrance about Supreme Godhead, to whom they had forgotten maybe trillions of lifetimes before. And because of that, they are suffering in this material world, life after life. So they are our source of inspiration, of course, Srila Prabhupada. who had this vision, and this was his mission to spread the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam and Supreme Godhead Krishna practically every town and village of the planet. And he personally did so. Uh, I am just, I'm kidding, glorifying Srila Prabhupada. I can never glorify Srila Prabhupada. If I would like to glorify, then it will like a joker. When a joker starts, uh, doing all somersaults and all different things in in circus, what happens? People simply laugh. So similarly, glorifying by a person of the such a low stature like me, uh, it's like a joker. Vinod Patram. Srimad Bhagavatam tells that he's a Vinod Patram. What great offering this all great personalities has given to human society. No mundane person and no ordinary person like me could be able to glorify them sufficiently ever. It's impossible. It's impossible, practically impossible. So now let's go ahead to exactly the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is given by none other than Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada gives a very special type of introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam in his version of Srimad Bhagavatam. There he takes up a concept of Ishvara and absolute truth. Okay, so this Srimad Bhagavatam is specifically purely going to describe about absolute truth. Satyam Param Dhimahi. So absolute truth. Who is absolute truth? That's like in North India, people they say, what is truth? At the time of death, if somebody dies in North India, they take up the dead body of the person and they will put them on the bamboos and they will say, Ram Naam Satya hai. They say that truth is Ram Naam. Okay, truth is Lord Ram or whatever. And there are some people they understand what is Ishvara. Who is Ishvara? So Srila Prabhupada, first of all, he gives this understanding and comparative study of who is Ishvara and who is absolute truth. So we are able to see here, Ishvara is someone who is the controller. Who is the controller? And absolute truth is someone who is source of all controllers. Source of all controllers. So all of us, among all of us, everybody is controller, right? In some degree or another, we control some people or some domain of our influence. Maybe some of you are housewives, then you could control your household things and household chores and your children and your husband. If husband is there, he could control his wife or his office people or whoever, whatever. Like everybody is a controller. Everybody is Ishvara. Everybody is Ishvara in this world, or some or other degree. But he is not Parameshwara. Parameshwara, the supreme Ishvara, supreme controller, is absolute truth. He is source of all controllers, including Ishvara, Maheshwara, or Parameshwara. Who is the controller of these all Ishwaras? He is called absolute truth. So Ishvara, we all of us Ishvara. Then there is Maheshwara. Maheshwara means Lord Shiva. Then there is Parameshwara. Parameshwara is Lord Narayana. And controller of all the Ishwaras is one personality. I will reveal you who is that personality later on. And he is called absolute truth. Ishvara is a relative shelter. Some people can take shelter of us, right? When we are kids, then we take shelter of mother. Then we'll go ahead, then we take shelter of our father. Then we little grow up, then we take shelter of police, right? So all controllers can give a limited relative amount of shelter to their dependents. But there is one person who is shelter of all the Ishwaras. There is one person. There is one person, he is called absolute truth. So he is the source of all, or he is the shelter of all absolute truths. Then Iswara is a Purusha. He is the Purusha, he is the enjoyer. But there is one person who is supreme enjoyer. There is no more bit, I mean, there is no better enjoyer than absolute truth. So there is some little bit of description about differences between who is Ishvara and who is absolute truth. So then Srila Prabhupada goes ahead to introduce a very special personality. Hopefully all of you are able to know him. Acha, before that I go ahead, I just wanted to ask from you that how many of you have ever heard the name or you know a personality called Lord Chaitanya? Yeah. If you know about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then please write down in the chat box. No, I mean K. If you don't know, then just write down N. Let me see that how many of you know. Okay, so it's mixed. Some of you know, and some of you are about to know about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So before going to present Srimad Bhagavatam, most widely read Srimad Bhagavatam of the history of the world by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is going to present that. Srila Prabhupada gives a brief life sketch of a personality. His name is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we are going to see the life sketch of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that is the introduction. Today's section will be little bit of like brief study of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. Then next section, I mean the next week, what we will be seeing his teachings and glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then onwards we shall go ahead discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. The real text starts. Okay, so now I'm going back again to the PPT. So who is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So he is a practical teacher of Srimad Bhagavatam. He is the practical teacher of Srimad Bhagavatam coming into this Kali Yuga some 500 years before. So he appears in 1486 AD. 1486 AD. When Western people, Europeans, were searching everywhere the light. They were searching everywhere the wealth. They were searching everywhere India. Everywhere people were searching out where to get to India, because there are utter poverty in European country then. And then people were searching out. They were knowing that there is a place called India where there is a lot of wealth, a lot of wealth. And when we will have a business relationship with India, then we would also become wealthy. So that time was the time of great political, socio-political turmoil in India. Very great. I mean, it was like a horrible situation in India. Horrible situation. There was practically no king who could rule the people with with all that wonderful amenities and giving all different facilities and giving protection to them. There was no such. Everywhere there was what's called arajakta, and people were doing anything and everything. And in masses, people were converted into some kind of faith which is lower than what they were supposed to follow. And houses after houses were burned. People were butchered if they are not being converted to that particular faith. Women were handled and they were raped like anything. And that was a situation when Sanatan culture has been fully destroyed. In Hindu so-called culture, people were practicing such type of obnoxious type of activities that have not been mentioned in Vedas. They had a lot of wealth. They used to do very pompous marriage of their daughters, just to show that how greatly religious they are. By spending lakhs of rupees in marriage, they used to show that how greatly religious person and how much wealthy person they are. If their daughters, all the daughters, they used to get married, then they also used to marry what? They used to marry she cat and he cat, and in this way they used to show that how religious they are. So these all things were practiced in India, specifically this northern region, specifically in Bengal. So Lord Sri Krishna himself has told that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanim sajamyaham. In fourth chapter, first sloka, it comes, right? So then there appears the personality, the absolute truth. So some of you might be thinking that what, this Lord Chaitanya, to whom we don't know about anything, and how this person is corroborating that sloka of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is directly told by Lord Sri Krishna about his own incarnations, and is corroborating with this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How it is so? So that will be revealed slowly in front of all of you. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in 1486. Then there was a lot of turmoil, a lot of dharma-hani happening into this world. To establish dharma, and specifically the dharma of this age of Kali Yuga. His father's name was Jagannath Mishra, resident of Sylhet, and his mother's name was Sachi Devi. And Sachi Devi's house was in Bengal, like specifically now what is Bengal, we called actually what is called to, like what area is called to be Bengal. So Sachi Mata was the daughter of great Pandit. His name was Nilamba Chakravarti, and Sachi Mata's 10th son Nimai appeared. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's another name was Nimai. So this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, don't think that this person has not been specified in Vedas. There are some 20 to 25 very clear signs mentioning of his name, his father's name, his place of appearance, his color, his mission, his activities, what is going to perform in Vedic literatures. So that will be a very another separate class, maybe of 1 hour. So I'm not going to go for that. Maybe in one of the class we shall discuss who is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the basis of Vedic references: Agni Purana, Skanda Purana, Padma Purana, Mahabharat, Atharva Veda, and Bhavishya Purana. These all the Puranas, specifically Brahma Vaivarta Puran, then Brihad Naradiya Puran, very explicitly describes that there going to come a personality called Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the house of Sachi Mata. His mother's name will be Sachi, and his father's name will be Jagannath Mishra, and he will be appearing in Navadvip Mayapur Dham, which is situated on the bank of Ganges. Mayapure Navadvipe Bhavishyami Sachi Sutaha. So this is clearly mentioned in Vedas. So as many incarnations had come till now, and as many are going to come in future, all of their descriptions are mentioned in Vedas. Anybody from anywhere, they come and they claim that no, I am God. They show little bit of what's called magic, and so many followers they make, and after that they give some money to them, to followers, and they start popularizing and they start advertising that so-called God to be God. So God cannot be made by vote, and God cannot be made by so many people telling that he's God. No, God is God from very beginning of his appearance, and he had been already predicted in the Shastras. There are special traits, special characteristics, special qualifications, special mission, special activities, which is already mentioned in Vedas, and that exactly Same thing he comes and he performs. That's like Ramayana, what Lord Ramchandra is going to perform, which has been already mentioned in Ramayana. Ramayana has been mentioned already even beforehand Lord Rama appears. Lord Krishna, what is going to do, he has already mentioned in Vedas. Then Lord Krishna appears exactly does the same thing what has been mentioned in Vedas. So all that things are already been decided. I mean, decided by he himself, because Vedas are nothing but emanations from Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sound manifestations of Supreme Lord. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears and he stays 24 years in Navadvip. Navadvip is the place where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And I had also the opportunity to be here in Mayapur Navadvip Dham, from where I am speaking now. And then he married with Lakshmi Priya. She is none other than Mother Lakshmi, who appeared in Mahaprabhu's, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And Lakshmi Priya, very soon, she leaves Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again remarries with Vishnu Priya. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts sannyas at 24 years, because it is mentioned in Mahabharata that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come here and he will start the Yuga Dharma of Kali Yuga. In every Yuga, there are different dharmas. Dharmas means every Yuga, Satyuga is having different dharma to reach to Supreme God. So Satyuga, the dharma of Satyuga is meditation. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, Dhyan, Samadhi. Right? So what usually they do, people, they do yogasanas. So that is the one of the section of the Yuga Dharma of Satya Yuga. When it comes to Treta Yuga, the Yuga Dharma becomes what? Yuga Dharma becomes yagyas. Great pompous yagyas people used to do. And in yagyas, Lord Narayana himself used to appear. And in Satya Yuga, what was? It was yogasanas. So in every yuga, a personality comes to establish the dharma of that yuga. In Satyuga comes Nar Narayan Rishi. In Treta Yuga comes Yagya Purusha in red form. In Dwapar Yuga, Lord Sri Krishna himself comes, and Dwapar Yuga, the dharma of that age becomes deity worship, worshipping the deity of the Lord in the temple. That's why we see there are so many different temples, specifically in South India, which is from Dwapar Yuga. Dwapar Yuga is not so much, so many years, like not too far, just 5,000 some years before. So for Lord Krishna comes as Yuga Avatar. And then in Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is Harinam Sankirtana. Kalau tad Hari Kirtanat. So to establish that Yuga Dharma appears the personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, and his name is Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And everything is mentioned, how he will be living as householder for 24 years in Navadvip. And after that, he will take sannyas. He is Lakshmi Pati. He is actually the master of Lakshmi, and not one Lakshmi and two Lakshmi. Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambrama Sevya Manam. Unlimited Lakshmi is 24/7 serving Lord Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. And that Supreme Godhead Krishna comes down here to teach living entities how to again get reconnected with Supreme Godhead once again. To establish the dharma of this age of Kali Yuga, he takes up the mood of his own devotee to teach practically what is Srimad Bhagavatam and what is the lesson of Srimad Bhagavatam, how to live a life of Bhagavatam. He practically teaches a living Bhagavatam, he himself in own personality. So he had to take sannyas to preach majority of the people who were avoiding him, because they were telling that you are yourself a householder. How could you dare to teach me? Because of some 500 years before, unless you are sannyasi, nobody is going to hear from you. Now still it's there. Now even for sannyasis also nobody listens, because there are so many pakhandi sannyasis has come up, and people's faith has been ruined by them. And people's faith toward the true spiritual sadhus and real sannyasis has been ruined by so many pakhandi sannyasis that had come in Kali Yuga. But some 500 years before, they were not in so much of number. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought that unless I take sannyas, I am not going to deliver them. They are not going to give me respect. And instead of them going to Golok Vrindavan, they go to hell. So he took sannyas and he went to Jagannath Puri, and there he preached the most basic principle of Bhagavatam, the principle of complete surrender to Krishna. So also let you get this clear, because this is the Bhagavatam course which would be only be understood and realized when one has already completed Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So this Bhagavatam is for people, those who already understood that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no truth better than Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Whoever understood this fact, for him Srimad Bhagavatam is there. So Srimad Bhagavatam, as already I have told you, is a postgraduate study. It's postgraduate study. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is a PhD. And Bhagavad Gita you can understand to be till graduation. So everything is there. Karma Yoga, Karma Kanda, Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, then Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, one comes in the middle 6 chapters, ultimately ends up with 18 chapter summary. He's already graduated. He is the student of Sanatan Dharma. So till Bhagavad Gita, you are the student of Sanatan Dharma. But when it comes to Srimad Bhagavatam, means you are going postgraduate. Means you have already understood what is Sanatan Dharma. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna himself, appears once again to teach this Sanatan Dharma practically. Because Lord Krishna comes, he comes as a hero. He comes as a self-same Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No rules, regulation in front of him, nothing. He can manipulate anything and everything. His supreme absolute truth. So the person to whom I was indicating in the beginning of our today's discussion, he is Krishna. He is the controller of all controllers. He is the shelter of all shelters. And he gives Bhagavad Gita in just 45 minutes as to be the sum and substance of whole dharma. And how many people read and how many people understands that? We can count on the fingers. There was Sanjay, there was Vedvyas. Vedvyas is already, he is a liberated person. Forget about him. Arjun, he is also a liberated person. Few number of people who understood Bhagavad Gita when Krishna himself was there. And when Krishna leaves the planet, there are very, very few number of people who actually takes up reading Bhagavad Gita and understand what is actually import of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Even though these literatures were there, but there were no people interested into these all things. So Krishna is thinking, my God, I did such a great Herculean missionary work going to planet Earth, doing such a big wars like Kurukshetra, just to impress upon living entities that all living entities read Bhagavad Gita, understand who am I and how to surrender unto me and how you can come back to me. But these people's brain are very thick. Nothing goes inside. So he thought, unless I comes back again to teach them, they will never be able to understand. So that Supreme Godhead Krishna, he comes back taking the form of his most internal devotee, most dear devotee, taking his mood and his luster. He comes back as his own devotee. Brajendra Nandana Jai Sachi Suta Hoilo Se Balaram Hoilo Nitai. Who is the person who appeared as Brajendra Nandan? Means the son of Nand Maharaj in Vrindavan. That same person comes in Kali Yuga as the darling son of Sachimata. The Krishna, the son of Nanda, is supreme person, object of worship for all. He is the absolute truth. And same person who comes as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vrindavan Dham, and what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preaches and teaches, the same teachings what Lord Krishna had preached some 5,000 years before, but he was not the effective preacher. Krishna was not the effective preacher. He was very efficient preacher. In 45 minutes, he given Very wonderful talk. He was very efficient, but he was not effective. There are not so many people who got influenced to take up Sanatan Dharma. Of course, he established Sanatan Dharma. What is Sanatan Dharma? What is all other secondary dharmas? He just wiped them out. But still, his preaching was not so effective. So, to again preach very effectively, he himself has to come back as his own devotee, because devotee can preach much better way than God. Krishna had to say, Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Oh Arjuna, oh Dhananjaya, please understand that there is no better truth than me. Some people they say, my God, this God, what type of God is this? He's boasting about himself, his own glories. Yeah, there was one person when I was giving one session in one of the college. So one small little boy, he was in first year of his engineering. He was telling that, sir, I have one doubt. Why Krishna is boasting himself to be God in Bhagavad Gita? I laughed. I could not stop laughing, but somehow I told that you will understand why he's telling that in further sessions. So yeah, there are people who question like this: why Krishna has to be God? So why Krishna has to be God? A devotee only can make anybody understand. Like Krishna, he himself, even he is a most humble person. Krishna is a most humble person, but irony is that the most humble person has to speak to the living entities. Oh, living entities, you understand? I am that absolute truth. I am that supreme Godhead to whom you are supposed to worship. How much embarrassing it could be, right? But for the devotees, devotee will feel great joy and happiness, satisfaction to glorify Supreme Personality of Godhead with unlimited mouths. When they start glorifying the Supreme Lord, they like to have unlimited mouths, unlimited tongues, unlimited ears, because more they glorify, more relishment and more happiness they get. So that's why to really glorify his own self, Supreme Lord Sri Krishna comes down, taking the garb and mood of his own devotee as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he teaches Vrindavan Dham is identical with Lord Sri Krishna. Highest form of worship is mode of worship performed by damsels of Braja. Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless literature. Goal of life is to attain the love of Krishna. So these are the teachings has been lined up one by one. So now let's go ahead. Lord Chaitanya appeared with holy name. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he appeared, that was the time. That was the holy day. It's not a holy day, what in English terminology, but it was holy. Holy, understand? When people they play with each other with colors and dyes, and in this way they play with each other. Holy, Holika Dahan. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in evening of one of the in Falgun Purnima, when there is a festival of Holi in India, and that was the day there was complete lunar eclipse. And in Hindu tradition, whenever there is a lunar eclipse or solar eclipse, people they go and take dip in Ganga, and they chant the names of Lord Hari in Ganga. So it was an evening when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appearing, and all the people throughout whole India, they are taking dip in Ganga, Jamuna, and all that great sacred rivers of India, and they used to chant the names of Lord Hari. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So in one sense, if somebody appears at the time of solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, but it is told to be like it's not so auspicious. But Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself appears, and he makes the whole world to chant the holy name as he appears. When he was a small little child, he always used to remain crying, always crying, unless and until anybody from nearby neighborhood, any mother or any small little child, any elder boy or elder man comes and starts chanting the holy name, he never stops. He will keep crying till the time anybody comes to him, and he will chant Hare Krishna or Hari Hari or Giridhari or Gopinath, Gopal, Madhav, Keshav, Narayana. So unless anybody starts chanting, he never stops. So in this way, people of the place had termed him and named him as Gaura Hari, because his color, his body color was like Gaura, means golden complexion. So mothers and other neighborhood mothers, that they named Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Gaurhari. So he accepted Srimad Bhagavatam in Anna Prasanna. So there is one small little ceremony that takes place when kids start eating food first time, when he takes the first food, that's called Anna Prasanna. So what happens, in front of child so many different items are kept, and child is released to accept and to be attracted by one of those things. So there would be some money, there would be some cloths, there will be some other items like Srimad Bhagavatam book, maybe there will be some other books, other types of book like some Karma Kandiya books. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was released, he directly went to Srimad Bhagavatam and accepted it and grabbed it and embraced it. So in this way, he clearly explains, and he tells everyone that I am going to establish Bhagavad Dharma once again into this material world. So there are many stories, many histories of the life of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It will not be possible to cover all of them, but I will tell some of them. So how he is the master of illusory energy. And Lord Sri Krishna is also called to be master of illusory energy. He is the Mayadhish. He is the controller of illusion. So once what happened, there were some thieves. Those were worshippers of goddess Kali. So these thieves, one day they thought that this small little boy, and his name was Nimai, their mothers has named him as Nimai. So he having so many wonderful golden armlets, golden bracelets, golden necklace, and all golden, all everywhere gold. So they thought that a small little boy will take him and will steal all that ornaments from his body, his transcendental body. So what they did, they came and they saw that Nimai is playing in the courtyard unnoticed. Nobody is there nearby. So these thieves, they went and they told, "Hey Nimai, do you know I'm your uncles? So please come with us. Please come with us. We'll give you sweetmeats. Come with us." So Nimai is Krishna himself. He understands what is happening in whose mind. Nimai told, "Yes, please, let's go." "Okay, yes, uncle, let us go." So these thieves, they put Nimai on their shoulder and they rushes outside there. And after going some meters, around 200 or 300 meters in jungle, they started stealing everything. So they thought, we'll put Nimai down and then we start stealing. So they had been already reached in jungle. So when they have dropped Nimai down, immediately they are able to see that, my God, they are right where they have lifted Nimai, right there. They have come back right there where they have lifted Nimai, means they have lifted Gaurhari. And they're thinking, oh my God, this is the house from where we have actually lifted, and we're right there. And they are also able to see that his father Jagannath Mishra is crying, "Where is my son? Where is my son?" And they are running, and he is able to see. They are able to see that Jagannath is telling, "Please, please, please, how such a wonderful gentleman they have brought my son. Who are you?" So he, in the very cordially way, he's approaching those thieves. The thieves, they're having black into their heart. They started running. They started running off. So Jagannath Mishra thought that why these people are running? I don't know what's wrong with them. So in this way, we could understand that Lord Nimai is Krishna himself. He comes and he bewilders those who are non-believers. So Lord Nimai had come. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Lord Nimai, none other than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has come to smash all types of dogmatic orthodoxity in Hindu culture, so-called Hindu culture, Sanatan culture. So a lot of orthodoxity had come. That was the time, if a Muslim man had sprinkled some water from their small little pot upon any Hindu, just by sprinkling water, that person will turn into Muslim. That was the orthodoxity of them. You can understand. And like this, practically there was no Muslim population into this Indian subcontinent, but just by sprinkling water, almost around, you can understand, 20% of Indian subcontinent turned and converted into Muslim. And if somebody has to approach to Sanatan Dharma, the authority of Sanatan Dharma, so-called Pandits and Brahmanas, that how we can come back again, they used to say that you have to die once. Then next life you will come back as Hindu. So in this way, so many people, they actually get converted into some other faith where they start hating toward the same principles and Sanatan Dharma in which they used to be there before. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was great scholar, and he smashed all those Brahmanas having such a orthodoxy, approach towards Sanatan Dharma. At the age of 16 only, he had opened his own school, and all his students were more aged than him. And he shattered the pride of a great Pandit. His name was Digvijay Keshav Kashmiri. So Keshav Kashmiri was world's, specifically Indian subcontinent's greatest Pandit. Wherever he used to go, he used to go and he used to ask for duels. That's called Shastrarth. And practically everyone used to get defeated. So 500 years before, there were some specific places in India that used to be like universities, big universities, a center of education. Like nowadays we have center of education like Delhi, maybe Pune, maybe Bombay, could be called Calcutta. There are different universities in India, and on the planet we have Harvard, we have Cambridge, we have Stanford, we have MIT and all this stuff. But then there was no such universities available. So there was some center of educations then, like in Mithila, in north side there was Mithila. Mithila is near Nepal. In far north, if you'll go, then there is Kashmir. Then in eastern side, Navadvip. So like this, and also there Varanasi. So these are all places where center of educations. So this Keshav Kashmiri had defeated the Pandits of all the centers of education, all the Pandits of center of education. Nobody used to stand in front of him. And then he comes to Navadvip. That was also a seat of great scholars. And he challenges everyone. And everybody starts flying, fleeing off out of fear of this great Keshav Kashmiri. And that was the system. If you get defeated by some Pandit, then you have to keep giving taxes every year to that Pandit by whom you have been defeated. And you have to write on the Vijay Patrika of that Pandit that you had been defeated. So nobody could even dare to go. So they thought that let Nimai go and tackle with him. So Nimai means Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he was some around 15 or 16 years old. And he was famous to be like Nimai Pandit. So Nimai Pandit was there on the bank of Ganga, and there comes a Keshav Kashmiri, this great Pandit. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells that, I have heard so much great names of yours, Keshav Kashmiri. You are such a great scholar. I pay my humble obeisances unto your Lord's feet. So it was a great privilege and great boon given by Mother Saraswati that I had got darshan of you. So please tell, how could I serve you? So he was so much proud person. He told, who are you? You are Nimai Pandit. You are simply a grammarian. I'm such a great Pandit. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu admitted, yes, you are surely great Pandit. But I like to hear from you the glorification of Mother Ganga. Please tell some glories of Mother Ganga from your lotus mouth, which have been empowered by Mother Saraswati. So that this person, Keshav Kashmiri, starts composing Sanskrit slokas in glorification of Mother Ganga. It was not something like memorized and is being spoken, but he could compose Sanskrit slokas instantly, and he started quoting slokas after slokas after slokas. 108 slokas he quoted, like in the speed of tornado, very fast. And then he told, yes, so this is what the praise of Mother Ganga. So Lord Nimai told, wow, such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful presentation. But can you please tell, in sloka number 55 of yours composition, there are some faults and there are some good things also. Can you please tell? So he was such a proud person. What? How dare you? Can you tell that there are some faults in my slokas? Never. There is no fault. Then, and at the first hand, Keshav Kashmiri becomes shocked. Now, how this person could remember the particular sloka, and he can even speak also. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could speak also what sloka exactly at 55 number he told. And he got shocked. So Nimaitullah, I am a simple, humble student of grammar. I have some little power of hearing. Whatever I hear, once I remember everything. So please tell. So he told, no, there is no fault. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in front of all of his students, all of his great pandits, he points out 5 faults, and he becomes shattered. And that same night, he becomes so much frustrated. He started praying to his worshipable goddess, Mother Saraswati. And Mother Saraswati had given him the boon that whenever any person, any pandit comes in front of you, I will be sitting on your tongue, and I would be speaking. And this time he was like made into dust. So he started praying to Goddess Saraswati, Mata Saraswati, what did you do today? In front of a small little child, I got defeated. Where were you? What fault I had? What was my fault that you made me such a embarrassing defeat? So Mother Saraswati comes in front of him and tells that, do you know who was that person in front of you yesterday? That is my husband. He is Lord Narayana himself, the source of Lord Narayana, Krishna himself. How could I become more advanced, more smarter in front of my own master? So it's good that your pride has been made into dust. Go tomorrow early morning and pay obeisances unto his lotus feet and surrender fully. And then your real victory and then your real destiny will start giving you the way. Then you can understand what is the real purpose of human form of life. So like this, Lord Nimai, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had shown how he has established the Yuga Dharma of Harinam Sankirtana. And then he starts Harinam Sankirtana, he delivers Jagai and Madai. And there's a very famous story in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I will tell this the last story and we'll conclude today's session. So when Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes even more older, he becomes fully bloomed youth. So there's all incarnations like Lord Sri Ramachandra, Lord Krishna, Lord Vamana, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You can never see their photos and their pictures in old days because they do pastimes, means they are the controller of illusion, but we are controlled by illusion. We get old, but they won't get old. They come to 16 years old form and they remain intact there. They won't grow even furthermore. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he had been 16 years old and some more, he started the mission of his appearance that's called Harinam Sankirtan. And he told his brother Nityananda or Nittai and also the Haridas Thakur, he ordered them that go to door. Please knock every door and let people chant the holy name of Lord Hari. Suno suno Nityananda, suno Haridas, Sarvatra Amaragya karo ho prakash, ghare ghare giya karo ei bhikha, bolo Krishna, bhajo Krishna, karo Krishna shikha. So he told that please go to every door to door, and let my order be illuminated everywhere. That please, all living entities, please chant the names of Lord Hari. Please read about Lord Hari. Please teach others about Lord Hari. This is the order. I tell you, please spread everywhere. So in this pursuit, Lord Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balaram, coming to assist Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna. He goes practically everywhere. And one time, in one day, he meets with 2 greatest of the ruffians of Navadip. And they were like dacoits. They were like gundas of the gundas, the top gundas. And nobody can come in front of them. They had practically destroyed all types of religious formularies and regulations. And they have actually born into a Brahmana family, but they had done every sinful activity which has been mentioned in the Vedas. They were Brahmanas, they were the readers of Vedas before. And what they used to do, they used to write down all that different sins which is mentioned in Vedas. And they used to do one by one. That's like what we do, to-do list. We make every day to-do list, and these are things we have to do, and they used to do like that, all the sinful activities. And Lord Nityananda Prabhu comes and he tells that please chant the names of Lord Hari. So what they do, they were fully drunken people, eaten so much of meat, had all illicit relationship with so many people, and they were like demons, like demon through the power of demon people. And when Lord Nityananda Prabhu comes and approaches them that please, oh Jagai and Madai, please chant the name of Lord Hari. You will get delivered. You will get love of Godhead. Then these people, they say, what? Who dared to tell me to chant the name of Lord Hari? Their eyes were in delirium, upside down. And they say, who is this person who is telling us to chant Jagai? So Madai is telling, hey, this is Nitai. He is one of the servant of that Lord Chaitanya. So what they did, they took up in the wrath broken pot of alcohol, and they smashed upon the head of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu's glory is mentioned here, that he starts emitting, like the blood started oozing out from his head. And then immediately Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is knowing everything, what's happening where. He immediately rushes down. People had already informed him that Lord Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balram, has been hit by Jagai and Madai, and he comes as Lord Narayana. He exhibits in the wrath the form of Lord Narayana taking Sudarshan Chakra, and he immediately rushes toward Madai, because Madai is the person who has hit Lord Nityananda Prabhu with that pot. And he tells that I'll kill you, Madai, today. But Lord Nityananda Prabhu takes up the lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and tells that, oh Lord, please don't take weapon in this avatar, because this avatar you have taken to deliver everyone, and everyone is demon. Everyone is demon in this age. Practically, demon has entered in everyone's heart. So if you had to take a weapon, then you have to kill everyone. You will not find good people and bad people. Practically everybody is bad people nowadays. So now in this age of Kali Yuga, people could get delivered only by chanting the names of Lord Hari. When they will take the names of Lord Hari, the demons inside there will be killed. And in this way, they will become perfect person. And they'll start loving you. Please, please, please forgive them in this time. Please. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgives Jagai, because Jagai, the person who has forbade Madai to hit back again. And in this way, he gets delivered. Then Madai also takes that we are all partners. We always used to do sinning all together. He got delivered. I will not get delivered. So then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you will be rotting in the hell for millions of years. You will not get delivered unless you go and beg forgiveness of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So then Madai also goes ahead and takes shelter of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and he also again gets delivered. And he starts crying immediately, tears of love of Godhead, love of Krishna, by just embrace of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this was the fate. This is the fate Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had appeared to give and to spread everywhere in this age of Kali Yuga. And he is the person who is the first, preacher of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why Srila Prabhupada has described the small little sketch of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in the next session, we shall be discussing further ahead and the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam, glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we discuss mainly the life sketch of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Little bit we also discussed beforehand the inspirations from where we are actually getting, and we are having this Srimad Bhagavatam classes started by the inspirations of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and His Holiness Bhakti Vijay Bhagavat Swami Maharaj. So we shall proceed ahead from next week. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thank you so much, all of you. If you have any question, anything, you can also put in the WhatsApp group, and we can discuss, and we can discuss some question answers there also. And if you feel like some takeaway points, take home points, anything you feel like you're remembering, any pastime, anything, that also you can write down in the WhatsApp group. That's very, very important, because others also will get to know, and things will get again revised back again by having these discussions on the groups. Okay, so I request all of you, please go ahead into the groups. I wrote down some 2 or 3 your most memorable points of today's discussion. Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakt Vrind ki jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.